Breathe in, breathe out. In the next 5 minutes, everyone in here will take about 80 breaths while listening to me talk. You won't even think about it, and for most of you, it will come easy. But for 7.1 million children with asthma, it does not. As a school nurse, asthma is a battle I help my kids fight every day. There's a particular battle I'd like to share with you today. It's about Judy. Judy is a 5th grade student in my school who has asthma. I've known her for about 3 years now, and right now her asthma is really well controlled, and it doesn't interfere with the normal, awesome life of a 5th grade student. However, that was not always the case. When I first met Judy, she was newly diagnosed. She actually is having some breathing difficulties that put her in the hospital. Following the hospitalization, she continued to have breathing problems, and her asthma was still uncontrolled due to a number of different factors. She missed a lot of school during this time. When she was at school, we were having to send her home because we didn't have the correct medication or we didn't have the correct paperwork. Any kind of activity, that recess, PE, health, she was spending those times with me in the health room. She came to see me every day. It was during these times that I really tried to think of a way to get her back on track when I remembered the Asthma Ready community of the University of Missouri in Columbia that partners with KKIC. I contacted them and I began my training, and we enrolled Judy in the program. At the beginning of the program, they do an evaluation questionnaires with the students, and we really got to see how she didn't have any basic knowledge of this disease that she was diagnosed with. No one had really taken the time to educate her or use the correct tools to make it to where she could understand. With Asthma Ready, they actually come into the schools and they assess the students over, a series of weeks. And they also have materials that they send home with the students. They have evidence-based videos and work booklets that go home and get the family involved too, which is key. At school, they do the evaluations with me, the nurse, or they do it with the respiratory therapist that comes in. These evaluations, we try to focus on 3 things. 1, we want to make sure she's taking the inhaler correctly. If you're not taking the inhaler correctly, the medicine doesn't get to where it needs to go, and she's pretty much back to not taking anything at all. Number 2, we really want to make sure that they know the difference between their inhalers. They get a daily inhaler, they get a rescue inhaler. If they don't know the difference between these, that it changes their whole plan. We want to make sure they know their triggers and their symptoms. The evidence-based videos that we use are excellent at using these to communicate that to the kids. Asthma Ready also, they open up a door of communication between the nurse and the doctor where I don't have to talk directly, I can talk directly to the doctor. I don't have to talk through the parent, which is huge. The communication flows so much more efficiently and effectively. I get the paperwork I need, they get the data they need, and the process is amazing. The last thing that we focused on was that their numbers, we call them the vital signs of asthma. It's their lung number, and we want them to know, how well we're doing, how well the kids are doing, so the doctors can kind of relate that information. It focuses and tells us how well they're breathing in and out, how well there's any lung obstructions, how what their lung capacity is. That's why this program that I just explained to you was life-changing for Judy. She went from being a student who was in and out of the doctor's office, was never at school. When she was at school, she wasn't with her peers. She was missing class time by being in the health room pretty much every day. She went from that to being someone who was back among her peers, to being, winning awards in health and PE, and, only seeing her doctor on the occasional routine visits. She takes her inhaler so beautifully now. I'm so proud of her. She rarely darkens my doorstep except to give her school nurse a hug and say, "Remember when I used to have to spend all my time in here with you?" To which we both smile and say, "But not anymore." Asthma Ready, teaming with them, as a healthcare professional was amazing. It gave me tools that I use every day. I don't know how I assessed a student with asthma before these tools. It gives me technology, it gave me guidelines to follow, and education that makes me a better nurse to care for students with asthma. It really helps me communicate with the doctors and with the families. It was, a game changer, honestly, in asthma management. It's affecting thousands of kids' lives in Missouri, not just Judy's. That's just one story that encompasses many stories. So that's why I'm so excited to share. These are my kids, and so when I find something that works for them, that makes them healthy and keeps them that way, it gets me really excited to share and be a part of it. Thank you.